Okay. Hopefully. Mad. um, Hello to everyone. Hope you guys are okay. I'm not starting yet. I'm giving Kaz a minute to get on. She takes a little while. Don't worry about it. I'll just like run everything without her until she shows up. You know, she's been super busy lately, and I just want her to. I know some things up, and she'll do it. She's doing what she can. Um, you're all okay. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Saturday. How welcome to month what now? 7, 9 of quarantine? How many months have we been in quarantine? Uh, I'm sitting here just going, how many months have we been in quarantine? And what have I been doing though? Um yeah, actually now that I think about it, what have I been doing this whole time? Quarantine's been going on so long, I just didn't even notice time fly right past me. How? Oh, hey, Fernie, what's up, buddy? What's up? What's up? It's good to see you, my friend. It's good to see you. I hope I'm loud enough for you. I hope I'm talking with my overly booming voice. Um, oh, Sammy! Hey, buddy. What's up? That whatever you saw there when you saw that weird screen glitch, that was me messing up. Um, as I do so many times a day. But it's awesome to see you too, Sammy, early. We're just giving Kaz a minute, giving her a minute because something's probably up and she's busy, or it's very early where she is as well. Just it's what it is. If she's not here, we'll carry on, and then I'll carry this ship without her, and then when she shows up, we'll go together as always. Um, how have you been, Sammy? How many months have you been in quarantine, Sammy? I've I've forgotten. I've actually forgotten. Which is a little bit worrying. Um, a little bit worrying, but it's okay. Oh, hey, Sec, what's up? Transition King, thank you. Everything all right? Time has gone by. It's gone by way too fast, way too fast. God damn, god damn. Yeah. So if you guys saw, I'm gonna do I'm gonna do the normal announcement like I do every time. This is just me to do the pre-show ramble stuff. Everyone had a moment to get in. Um, the last today we're gonna be talking a lot about Berserker, as everyone is. This is one of the few times that we're like doing on we're doing like on the same day news or like day late news. Look at us being on time. I've been so busy because I need to move. So I'm coming in hot with like fucking oh, I'm swearing so much. Oh, by the way, for the swear jar that's coming back, it was gone because of Corona and me, having a job and stuff. But swear jar is coming back September, October, and I've done the animation and everything in Blender, so it's gonna come back, and you guys can ping me and make me give copious amounts of money to some strange artist because I can't stop fucking swearing. So I've got maybe what like a few more weeks of this. I'm gonna treasure it. It has made me swear a lot less. I noticed. I listened to a podcast from 3 months ago, and I swore like none, not once, and then lately I've been swearing a lot more. Hey, Error and I have been in a lot of voice calls lately. Salty Kryptonite. She's really fun. Nice to see you here, Error. Loving it, loving it. I know Radar is here. I know you're here, Radar. Have fun reading Witch Hat Atelier. Uh, when the swear jar comes back, I'm gonna be so fucking broke. This dude, swear jars are great because I swear so fucking much. Oh, people have kids. I need to stop. I've been like saying it, and I'm like, stop swearing, and I'm still swearing in my head. Um, I swear so goddamn much that I need to kind of get myself to a good point. As a teacher, you don't understand how terrifying it was doing this as a teacher. I remember the first day I almost swore at a kid. Like just casually, not as like an angry thing, just like a, oh, by the way, get me that effing thing on the table. I was so close. I just like I had to stop myself before I finished the statement. So that was quite fun. Anyway, yeah. We're just waiting for Kaz, by the way. Everyone who doesn't know what's going on, but it's great to see all of you. Every time I see you guys, it fills me with energy. Wonderful, wonderful. I just got asked about the Harvey Awards, something which I vaguely knew about but didn't remember until I was asked, and then I went to look into it. Harvey Awards, I think, are currently voting. Quite interesting to see that. I'm probably going to pay more attention to them and talk about who wins those whenever they win. That's going to be quite fun. Let's see. Okay, we've been up about 5-6 minutes. Well, Kaz isn't here. I'm just gonna carry the torch, so to speak. So let's get into it. Let's just jump into it. Hey everybody, I got Kaz out of the panel, and my name is Nen. Welcome to the Webcomics Hubcast, episode 43. Episode 43. Hello, Lizzie. Today is a news, but also you can ask us anything podcast. Meaning that if you're in the chat, you can pretty much interject with questions and whatever, so that we can talk about it and also give us your conversation points. It's great to have a discussion between us. I love talking to you guys. You're all wonderful. So today we're gonna start by talking about. You know what? I'm gonna start with this. Yeah, why not? I want to talk about what happened with involving Chadwick Boseman and what's it called? Rob Liefeld. Chadwick Boseman and Rob Liefeld. Okay, that doesn't sound like the kind of people you'd expect to meet in a locker room somewhere. But trust me, there is a connection. This comes from Bounding Into Comics and also from other places where I've actually been on, and also on Twitter. So today, Chadwick Boseman's dead. Rest his soul. God bless the man. You know, fighting cancer, not easy. No one needs to make fun of him. I just realized I messed up the visual. Anyway, Chadwick Boseman's dead. And the Topps licensing manager decided to spend the day asking for the death of Rob Liefeld. Okay, I don't like Rob. I don't like Rob Liefeld. I'm not gonna pretend like I like Rob Liefeld. But I'm going to say this. Wishing for the death of another human being, especially in the middle of an actual deadly virus, and also like after someone important, someone famous and influential in a community that he's not even a part of has died. I don't use this word lightly, fucking cunty. Okay, like it's probably one of the worst things that anyone could do right now in this vibe. Right now, who is this man? What is wrong with him? Kaz isn't here to stop me from ranting, so I'm going to rant a little bit. Like, it is unbelievable to me that he exists, and he made the post, and I'm just like, he literally wrote people who I wished had died instead of Chadwick Boseman. I've seen the post, and again, I do not like Rob Liefeld. I don't like him. His art's bad. I know like Image is a very open place, but I don't like him the things I've heard about him through some friends in the industry, but also the things I've seen from his work. And I'm sure they're not like 100%, true, the stuff I've heard. But anyway, he's not my favorite person. But this isn't the time to be a prick. Like the guy, the top licensing manager's name is Adam Levine. I'm not showing his social media posts because I quite honestly don't want people to kind of hop onto it. But like, it is beyond me that this man is in charge of anything. This happened literally, 2 days ago? Yeah, 2 days ago. It is ridiculous. And Rob has seen it. Rob had to like just leave social media for a day or so because he's just like, he is having a tough time. He's got kids. The man's got kids, and his kids have seen the post. So he's got to explain to his family why some rando on the internet is wishing for their father to die. It is surreal as all heck. Yeah, look at me, guys. I didn't swear. But, it's surreal as all heck. And quite honestly, I think the weirdest part for me, I think the weirdest part for me are that's hardly the most offensive thing I've ever posted. Get a life, people, is something he said. He basically called that the least offensive thing he's ever posted, or at least not the most offensive thing. Dude, that doesn't make it better. And also, if you write BLM LGBTQ rights and tell me about how much you love those things and how you support Antifa, my dude, you know, those are my things. Okay, I'm gonna just out myself now. Those are my things. But like, that doesn't make you an okay person. Just because you support good causes doesn't mean it's okay for you to be an absolute. Just what's like a good non-swear I could use as an insult for someone? You know what? Yeah, you bottom feeding just animal. He's a bottom feeding animal. That's gross, dude. That's not okay. You know, like, I don't know if the company that he works for, Tops, who's a I think they're a comics company. They're a trading card company. That's what they are. They make trading cards. I always forget about them, but they make top trumps if you live in the UK. They make top trumps. Tops has not commented about it. They haven't said anything about it. But I don't think this man is keeping his job. And honestly, rightfully so. Screw him. Screw him. And screw everything he stands for, the way he's going about it. Yeah, I just wanted to get it out of the way. I hope if you guys think anything about this, please say so. I know a lot of you have already called it actually awful. I generally love it. Melon, don't make fun of them like that. Don't make fun of them. Don't make fun of him like that. It's not. I know he's a twat, but there's no need to, like. Let's not. I never heard about any of this. Yeah, because it's like comic news is never big news, dude. Comic news is small news. Like, the longer I do this show, the more I want to make an entire small segment where I get to do 5-minute sections just telling you news. That way you know it, and then when I discuss it, you're like, oh yeah, I remember this. And then I want to, and something Kaz and I were going to talk about. And God, I hope she's okay. Something I want to talk about. Let me see. I think Lizzie Buzz. I think so many people were looking forward to 2020 that we all caused one big cataclysmic jinx. Yeah, we caused the jinx, and now Adam Levine exists. Hi guys, this is all our fault, and we should have done better. We should have known better. That's interesting. That's weird in itself, and I don't know why this weird man is still doing things. And then I wanted to talk about Greg Land. Okay, so for the Greg Land thing, there's actually a tweet I'm kind of missing. I'm just gonna get that up. But Greg Land is a prolific creator. I say a prolific creator. He is a well-known, or at least well-known artist. Welcome, Lord Janice. He's a well-known artist, and one of the things that he's well-known artist because he's known for tracing people's work. And I think I'm going to show you an example here. These are from Tristan Jones, who specifically said, and I quote, "Been stewing on this all night, but I'm 100% sure I've been Greg Landed," which I still think is absolutely hilarious. So on the left, you see the cover Greg Land made. If I can just frame this a little better. On the left, you see the cover Greg Land made, and on the right, you see the literal work that Tristan has done before, and overlaid on top of it to show the similarities. For example, this is Tristan's work. This is also Tristan's work, and look, literally, even some of the look, the arms almost seem to be copied off of his work. The body parts, it's like it seems like a copy. Now, for legal reasons, I'm not gonna say it's a copy because I'm a smart person. But it seems like a copy, and that's what seems to be insinuated by this. Now I haven't seen a comment from Greg about this. I'm sure there is one. I'm sure there is a comment. But I think what got me more was when something else was posted. This is from Joe. This is from Joe Quinoas. I don't know how to say his name. Um, there was more discussion in in comics Twitter about plagiarism and people stealing other people's work, and there was also discussion about Joe Quinoas, and then they showed this the. No, sorry. This is actually no. This is still Greg Land. They showed a cover that Greg made. What do you call it? And on the left is an Amazing Fantasy cover, and on the right, I believe, is the cover Greg made for Star Wars. It just looks a little bit different, looks a little bit similar, doesn't it, guys? Doesn't it? I think it's just a little bit similar. I think this is actually quite funny to me. I think it's either one of the people. It might be either Francesca Mattina or Greg Land that did this. I'm not 100% sure. Kaz had all the details on this. I've been really busy today, but I just wanted to bring it up. It's kind of irrelevant who did what, who plagiarized or didn't plagiarize. I think for me, a discussion I want to have about this is more about plagiarism and homage. That's kind of where I wanted to take this to. So, a lot of people try to skirt the line of plagiarism by saying it was an homage. Look, man, I just really liked your 1945 issue cover of Spider-Man Volume 34, and I just wanted to copy it. Not really copy it, just make people know I seen it, which I think is hilariously stupid. If you want to pay homage or something, there are better ways to do it than to literally rip off poses and design aesthetics. Like, there are better ways to do it. If he wanted to take that scene, he could have done a number of ways while still showing that Spider-Man, still giving you that Spider-Man feel. That feel of the cover. He could have literally had someone swinging in the background in that pose while having an original cover, if that's what he wanted to pay homage to. I don't know how you guys feel about this, but honestly, I think this is kind of weird. I don't get it. Why would you do this? And generally, you see this happen a lot in art. You see this happen a lot in art in general. I think one of the ones that it took me a while to understand was the Sony PlayStation ad that had a lot of copied animations from other people's work. I'm not an animation guy, I know some anime. I have some understanding of like the production line, maybe like a couple of things about how to animate, not a lot. And I know a lot of really talented animators, like Geek Boy and Error, people who are actually working really hard to do that stuff. Somebody found the head of the thing. I'll go back to that in a second. But I know a lot of talented animators, and it took me a while to understand that, like, the storyboarding for animation, how important that was. Because at first I was like, it's just storyboarding. They still had to execute on it and do all the art. But then it took a while. People got me to understand that, you know what? No matter how many different things the Sony ad wants to, quote unquote, pay homage to, it's gross, and you probably shouldn't do it that way, and there are better ways to do it. Don't literally rip off other people's hard work that they've used to set up very difficult to do things just because it's easy. I don't get why people do that. I don't know how many of you have experienced other people plagiarizing your work or have actually plagiarized other people's work. It is ridiculous to me that this gets through. And the thing is, Greg is still getting hired. It's not the first time this has come up. The Greg Land one wasn't the first one. It's literally a thing. You get Greg Landed, It wasn't the first time someone's been Greg Landed. And quite honestly, it's weird to me that despite multiple people talking about it, the man still gets hired by professionals. He gets paid money to do this. I want to get paid. No, I don't. But somebody in the comments of that last post said, there's a lot of abuse in comics right now, employee abuse, abuse of people, of women, and those are very important things. But I think another important thing we should discuss is the fact that a substantial number of old guard or just lots of people get to work in the industry while committing a ridiculous amount of plagiarism. And that is valid. Greg Land's work sells really well, despite a lot of people not knowing anyone who's a fan of his. And it's probably because he's like going around, allegedly, copying other people's work and using it. You know, I probably failed to say allegedly once, but I said it the last time. It's gonna. And I cannot. I don't think that's okay. I don't think he should be hired. I think we should. I think this is a very big case for like why people like him shouldn't be in the industry. No matter how quick their turnaround times are. No, no Marvel, no DC. Stop being bad. That was just the strangest fucking thing. Let's move on because Kaz is in here. When she comes here, we'll have a longer discussion about one or two things. But the thing I want to move on to, that's kind of on my mind and kind of where I want to go, unless anyone has something to say in chat, because I can't see chat moving right now. We're good? Okay. The next point I wanted to get to was the BRZRKR comic. I feel like either I'm expecting really long messages that will come in a bit, so I'll actually give it a second, and then I'll move on to BRZRKR. Because I've been wanting to talk about BRZRKR all day today. No one? All right. If you can overlay both images. Hey, Carrie. Kaz is asleep. I don't know where she is. Maybe you can ping her. If you can overlay both images together and they match up evenly, then plagiarism, period. Yeah, it is. It is. It just is, unfortunately. And I can't believe, again, I'm sure there are multiple instances of this. You've not seen anything of the BRZRKR comic? I've seen a couple of things of the BRZRKR comic. And I'm going to be one of those disappointing people who says, I want to talk about BRZRKR and I talk about nothing about the comic. BRZRKR is Keanu Reeves is in it. BRZRKR is a comic in which the main star is just Keanu Reeves. They just drew Keanu Reeves, paid for his likeness. Because, he's a gun-toting badass in John Wick 2, and John Wick 3, the 3 greatest action movies of all time. No cap, don't at me. But he's a big deal. Boom Studios is publishing it. The art looks amazing. In fact, it's the thumbnail of this podcast. The art looks amazing. All the work on it looks amazing. But then I think the thing that kind of got a lot of people is that Boom Studios, big studio with money, lots of money, who can afford to put this out. Keanu Reeves is already bringing in the names, bringing in the purchases. Keanu Reeves' name is already bringing in people. But Boom Studios, big company that it is kickstarting this comic. Is kickstarting this comic, and feels a bit icky. I'll be honest with you. It feels a bit icky to me. As someone who works primarily in indie scenes and has worked on only maybe 1 or 2 kind of mainstream anything, 1 mainstream game and 1 mainstream TV show that I worked on a set for. There is a lot to be said for big corporate names, people with money, people who are big, kind of staying out of small indie spaces. Kickstarter is a place for new creators. Yeah, Kickstarter is a place for new creators, smaller creators to kind of, get some money together so they can put out their work. It's hard to crowdfund money, especially when you're putting out something you want people to read. And a big person like Boom Studios coming into Kickstarter, let's say this month or next month, they kind of put a squeeze on it. If you didn't know, a lot of Kickstarters are like 30 days tops that they run for. They run for 30 days and that's it, right? So if I'm on Kickstarter and let's say Sammy's putting out a Kickstarter, Sammy's putting out a crowdfunding campaign, and I see the BRZRKR campaign, I might want to buy Sammy's comic. But I might also want to buy the BRZRKR comic because it's got Keanu Reeves in it. Of course, the BRZRKR comic. Of course, I'm gonna buy it. It's got Keanu Reeves in it. I want to buy it, and that kind of puts a squeeze on comics like Sammy's because I'm less likely to pay for his. I'm less likely to pay for his than I am to just go and pay for the big name comic, just because Sammy chose the wrong month. Unfortunately, there is a lot to be said for the legitimacy that big names like Boom Studios and Keanu Reeves and the BRZRKR people bring to Kickstarter. Kickstarter does not have a good a good history. Kickstarter does not have a good name really in public. I know people who still will never go on Kickstarter because they think it's a place where they will get scammed to crap. But like, and that's valuable. But either I think Kickstarter should be more selective of what big products are coming in and when they come in, or big products should try to use crowdfunding for less relevant things. So for example, if the Boom Studios comic was still coming out and still being sold in stores and digitally, but they used Kickstarter because they were like, you know what, we can afford to put out the comic, but coronavirus put a squeeze on us. We want to put out some collectibles, Kickstart for the collectibles. I think that would be a little bit better, because if they Kickstart for the collectibles are less bought by fewer people, and usually by bigger spenders. So you end up with the people who are going to buy a comic anyway, waiting for BRZRKR for whenever it comes out, and going to buy smaller Kickstarter work, but still being attracted to Kickstarter because the name of Boom Studios and BRZRKR, was around there. I don't think that they expected the backlash they got. A lot of people are talking about it. I think one of the people who mentioned something really good about it was Joe Glass. I'm just going to put that up on the screen now. Joe said, honestly, I feel like I've spent enough time and energy tonight on why the Boom BRZRKR Kickstarter thing bugs me. But needless to say, I think it's really gross to use a platform designed to help new independent and small press creators make their dreams make their dreams a reality and pull focus away from their work, especially when they've got a big PR team. Keanu Reeves is worth $360 million. Boom Studios has got their own sack of money. You could afford to pay Keanu Reeves for his likeness. Why are you going to an indie creator space and taking away all their attention? I don't get it. I don't know how all of you feel about this. A few of you I know have put out your own work, but I would love to know how you'd feel if you are doing your own Kickstarter and all of a sudden this came up, pushing people away from your work. I know some of you make different genre things, but I think when it comes to comics or media items that are this big from people this acclaimed, it kind of affects every genre. Like I love a good romance comic, but like it's Keanu Reeves. I'ma just drop everything for Keanu Reeves. I'm not gonna lie, I've thought about doing that 3 times. It's just, my integrity has stopped me from buying the comic and spending my money on something I know probably won't come out, like always. I don't know how it feels like a weird double standard that we're playing, by saying established people who in the industry with big people who run companies in the industry shouldn't be allowed to come in. But I don't know. Kickstarter is a quick and easy way for companies or corporations to gauge interest in a new product from a non-established creator. That's true. That's a very true thing. Also, Sammy says, wait, so they paid for the likeness of Keanu and then Kickstarted it? Yeah, they did that. While it's true, Carrie, that Kickstarter is a great way to gauge interest, using a Kickstarter to gauge interest for a person who is currently in 1, the biggest game of 2020-2021, 2, the last 3 biggest movies of all time, 3, has a literal subreddit where people just post pictures of him, and 4, generally is talked about in a positive light and has never had a controversy that I know of. It seems meaningless. And also, I know corporations go the path of least resistance. I think at some point we have to start talking about ethics, and how ethical it is to act like this. Also, I didn't know Dylan Sprouse from Zack and Cody had a comic book now, but I did know that 3 out or 4 members of The Office just put out Kickstarters that earned them hundreds of thousands of dollars to put out shows featuring their characters that they don't own, and it actually belongs to the studios that they came from. Very confusing. I don't know what that's about. I think to use the word unfortunate is a little. I don't know. I think it's a little callous because I know companies use the path of least resistance, but you end up with apart from the fact that you end up with a lot of issues for indie creators. I don't know. I also see the fact that, like, whenever I think of a kickstarted big product, I think of Shenmue 3, the video game. A game that was kickstarted and almost everyone who cared about it bought it. And by the time it came out, no one bought it. No one bought it because everyone who cared already got a copy. No one bought the final release, and they spent so much money afterwards trying to get it to stores. And of course, no one was interested because everyone who cares about Keanu Reeves shooting people in the comic book has already bought it. Also, we're all aware that comic book companies haven't made the best decisions in recent years. You're not wrong. Their decision making is to be envied because it's so goddamn bad. It's so awful. First you work with Diamond, then it's hilarious to me that that's where we're. It's hilarious to me that they regularly make decisions like that. They're almost like the video game industry, but they have less money, so they can't even afford to be this kind of brazenly bad. I think also when it comes to Boom Studios, it's kind of interesting that they're running a Kickstarter right now. The last time I heard about Boom Studios, because I hear about them on and off, I mostly hear about Kaboom, their kids comic, because my nephew is a very big fan of Adventure Time, which is one of the stuff that they put out. But the last time I heard of Boom was their Pushing Comics Forward initiative, which was when a lot of discussion about Boom Studios not even paying appropriately came up. I saw that a couple dozen times, and in fact, I think I have a tweet from someone in the industry who talked about that. Someone in the industry mentioned it. It should be in my bookmarks where I did. Yeah, there it is. It was brought up by someone in the industry. Her name is Kate Beaton. She is just, experienced. She knows her stuff. And she brings up the idea that, Boom Studios never gave a damn about paying their artists well or treating them well, or even allowing rights to IP they created. This is disgusting. Where were the Kickstarters to pay people more than dog shit wages for the comics you love so much? Now, I'm not saying that Kate is right. I actually don't know. I'm going to be honest with you. I looked into this most of today to try and find information about it. I didn't find anything. I didn't see anything about bad payment. I saw the discussion coming up on Twitter, as it does, and I'm not gonna deny the experiences of the people who are involved. If they got paid unfairly by Boom Studios, they got paid unfairly by Boom Studios. I'm not gonna deny it. Most people wouldn't come up with a bullshit lie just to affect some comic book company. It has no value in their life, especially when it just puts them on blast for all the fans. So frankly, I see where if they say it, I believe it. But I couldn't find anything on it to verify. Although that is interesting to come up. Hey, Kaz, are you okay?
Hello. Again, we have a case of my alarm not going off.
It's cool. I've carried it for 30 minutes. I was losing it, man.
No.
What can I do without you?
What happened? What have we been talking about?
Okay, so I was getting near at the end and I was terrified of what to do. I discussed the Chadwick Boseman thing, and I called Adam Levine a cunt. I think rightfully
yes.
so. I talked about Greg Land's plagiarism and Francesco Mattina, and I think I basically spent a lot of the time talking about plagiarism and homage, and the fact that no matter how much you want to pay homage to something, there are better ways to do it than to blatantly rip it off. There is no meaning in that.
Yeah, have you talked about examples of comic book homage, like comic color homage that are really popular and it's like on purpose? Good thing I gave you notes, didn't I?
Yes, because without you, I can't do anything. That's not even a lie.
Oh God, how is everyone doing? Everyone on the show? I am so sorry. I swear this happens every now and again. Can you put me in there?
Yeah. Oh yeah, finally, I can put you back.
Yeah.
My dreams. I was talking to myself for the past 30 minutes. It was terrifying. I was alone.
Okay. So, hang on a minute. I believe you guys were also talking about but I think you guys were talking about the BRZKR Kickstarter as well, right?
Yeah. I also looked at the Joe Quinones, I don't know how to say his name. I'm very sorry. Quinones cover. I didn't like it. I didn't think it was really homage, MO, because it just seemed too blatant. I feel like he could have done a better job of not directly just showing the exact thing that Spider-Man did years and years ago. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, though, if you scroll down in that tweet, you would have seen examples of the Thor,
Yes.
the Thor like pose.
I saw the
And
yeah, I saw the Thor.
yeah, have you showed them like
No, because I was trying to get through it because I was like, whenever she comes, she's gonna save me, and I can stop. I can stop being sad. I can stop being so low. Thank you.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know how much do you talk about regarding regarding like the BRZRKR Kickstarter and how comic book distribution funding and all that works. Okay, so these are examples, right? By the way, of the Thor. Okay, the Thor thing came first.
Yeah.
The Thor thing came first, and then everyone, because it's such an iconic post. A few different like comic. They all decided to do it. Yeah, a few different comics decided to do the same thing. Yeah.
Well,
the Batman one's quite funny. Okay. The Batman one is funny by virtue of the fact that it's this expression and it's the Joker and there's like a starfish on his.
It's beautiful.
Yes.
The Joe Quinones one is, I don't know. I felt specifically this cover. I was looking at it, I was like, oh, we could, I know that you want to pay homage, but that could be in the background. At the end of the day, you know, you could have something fully original on the front, or at least as original gets, and have a reference to the Spider-Man comic in the back somewhere. It's still an homage. You're still paying homage to it. I don't know. I'm very weird about covers. Jay knows this. I'm very weird about covers. I don't like a lot of things about modern day covers. Not been a fan.
Okay.
Not gonna lie.
Yeah, I think from an artist perspective, or like a sort of director perspective, it can be really hard to like try and find the boundary between tracing plagiarism and homage and like a reference. I don't know, like I don't know what the discussion was like for the last like 30 minutes as well.
I said I wasn't into it, and then Lizzie said, "Well, if you can trace, if you can line them up over each other, it's plagiarism. Simple." I went, you know what? I can see where you're coming from with her.
Yeah. So the reason why I also brought it up is because recently also there was like there was an art contest which was which was in Singapore, like for like younger kids, and Kari was involved with part of the judging for that, but not in this category that happened in, that we could trace like a potential source of it, and then we did a little bit of like a CSI, and we found out that with a little bit of like adjustment and scaling, you could line up things, so that was kind of bad. Okay, so you have a point that the Star Wars one, right, even so much, like it looks kind of stiff.
Yeah.
And I think that's less to do with the fact that it's a homage and more to do with the fact that it's just technically it doesn't look as dynamic as it should have.
I feel I see you. It might also just be the fact that Star Wars sucks and it's bleeding into everything that comes from Star Wars. But that's just me being an unnecessary hater.
Yeah.
I am not a Star Wars fan.
So I don't know the BRZRKR thing, right? I know we've heard your side of thing. I was a bit annoyed, and now I feel kind of mixed.
Okay. I feel
mixed because.
Yeah, I said thing about them bringing in more people, but I felt like it wasn't the best way to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, I also mentioned, because I gave you my notes as well, that at least it's much better than like Webtoon's back channel and caster. It seems more legit, at least.
I didn't bring that one up because I wanted you to do it, but yes, sir, thank you for reminding me.
Yeah, okay, guys, so regarding caster and back channel, right? So in the Tom Ackle era of Webtoon, Line Webtoon,
the Tom Ackle arc of Line Webtoon.
Yeah, I mean, back then we were a little bit like, Thong, but he got dropped. But now that we look at it, right, and also because we have some, not to be like, divulged like authority, right? It is very, very, very likely that these people who were mentioned, Common, Stan Lee, never really had any sort of creative involvement.
Yeah,
it's like. You give the rights to use your name to bring people in.
Yeah, basically, like, especially with the Common one, almost definitely. Like, Are you gonna tell me the guy who was advertising Gap is also gonna be on here putting out comics? I don't believe you. Common is not.
No, the thing is, wasn't he serving like a jail sentence at one point, like during the production as well?
It's baffling.
It does raise eyebrows, and then when you read some of the comments, right, like in interviews, like he was saying that overall most of the production is in the hands of like these people and stuff like that, and yeah, it's a little bit dicey. I mean, at least, right, when you read the press around BRZRKR and you listen to the Keanu Reeves video, you watch it, it seems that it's more involved.
He's more involved. However, like, they essentially paid for his likeness. It's Cyberpunk 2077, but without the voice track. Much.
Paid for his likeness, but then it seems like he was involved in the sense of like he actually had some involvement in the writing process. Okay. It remains to be seen. But I am aware that Keanu Reeves is all around a good guy, like from what you can see, like from other like anecdotes regarding his regarding him as a person. So I would hesitate to think that he would like knowingly like go in with somebody who has a bad history, but I don't know if you covered the Boom Studios history of payment.
I talked about the payment thing, but I couldn't find anything today when I was looking, because every time I looked for something, and this might just be like Google messing with me. Every time I looked for something, even when I went to the dreaded page 2 and the dreaded page 3 of a Google search. But all I kept finding was the Pushing Comics Forward initiative. And that was it, like just stuff about Boom Studios, and then I don't know if it's UK Google, I don't know what it is. I checked DuckDuckGo too, couldn't find that. I did find the tweet from Kate Beaton, who talked about that, and a few other people talking about it a few months ago, about a year ago, but not too much. That was what I saw.
Okay, so the thing with Boom Studios, right? I definitely remember seeing discussion about like comic rates and being underpaid. This was like on Twitter. There might have been someone on Bookface actually. But yeah, I say it like it's normal, right? I say it like it's normal. So no, I've seen a couple of like Okay, so I love Keanu, but Boom could have released this without Kickstarter without problems. Okay, now if we look at the comic book, the comicbook.com interview, they admit they're not raising money because they've actually technically got the money for it, and they've been talking to big direct market retailers about it. The idea is to use Kickstarter because of its reach, its ease of use, and a huge user base of non-comics readers to bring new comics readers into shops.
As someone who uses Kickstarter, that's the most bullshit line I've ever heard in my life.
It's a very yes and no situation. Like, if the intentions, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt. The intentions are good. I will admit that. But the next thing, because, right, if you think about it, there are people who, if you don't know how, like, ordering works, especially, like, because BRZRKR, right, these 3 graphic volume novels, the collector novels, so what's going to happen is that BRZRKR is going to be released, like, issue by issue, normally, the same way that most of your floppy, like, big 2 comics are. And then they're going to be collected a few issues per graphic novel, which is like about 4 issues to a graphic novel, and there are 3 total. So I think there are about 12 issues total in the whole series. Yeah. So the Kickstarter is like they'll like send you like the graphic novels when they're all done. Like, but then if you want to do like the usual like comic book store issue by issue format, you can also go and buy it in the bookstore, the comic book store. Now, yeah, so. There are people who will not know how to pre-order and ask comics to put things on their pull list for like 6 months in advance. Won't know how to check back on Amazon stuff. So if you're the kind who would like go, oh my god, I can pre-order it all at once, and then like at least I'll get a reminder like when to verify my address when the next book's coming in. Then Kickstarter is like sort of the perfect platform for you.
Yeah, I see that.
Like,
I see that.
They say like this is the way to supplement to people who are not already dedicated comic book orderers, like, you know, buyers, and who like, you know, do their own like timetable for ordering. I can understand that.
Okay, I use Kickstarter a lot, like an unreasonable amount, because I'm on there and I'm browsing and I'm reading people's work. I don't buy things on there very often. I'm just on there. Like when you go on Amazon and you look at random vacuum cleaners for 6 hours. That's normal, right? So, like, you know, I'm on Kickstarter a lot. Kickstarter exclusively sells 5 things. There are other things, but those other things are irrelevant. Games, comic books, D&D merchandise, right? Board games,
Yeah.
like, and finally, and most importantly, random electronics, right? The only things that you go on Kickstarter for are nerd shit. And all the nerd shit kind of intertwines. You know, like you regularly find Kickstarters for comic books and video games. You regularly find Kickstarters that kind of intertwine between an electronic product and a board game. So, and a board game and a comic book. So you kind of you can't exclusively say the phrase, you know, you can't say that you're going on there to get non-comic creators. Because quite honestly, none of those non-comic readers, because quite honestly, the only people on Kickstarter are comic readers. That's it. Comic readers and my mom. That's it on Kickstarter. And my mom isn't buying your comic.
I mean, as a counterpoint, right, the name Kickstarter is at least more recognizable amongst non-geek types.
Yeah,
the same way that the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right, you don't necessarily have to be like a comics geek to know the universe.
That's true.
So,
I mean, they could also have just done it on their website, in my opinion.
Yeah, but I guess because Kickstarter already has all like the technologies and the platform set up, so yeah, you may know that. Yeah, so you may know that, but the ones, yeah, that's a very valid point that the people at Boom Studios making those decisions might be a little bit too far removed from on the ground.
That's fair. I mean, I think Jim Sterling said it best when he was like, the people who know shit and the people who make shit happen are very often two very different people.
All right. Yeah, worth considering that. Yeah. At the very least, I mean, I say a few mixed because having someone like Keanu Reeves like involved in this sort of thing, and like we've been seeing it like the last few years, like with the guy from My Chemical Romance who did Umbrella Academy as. Yeah. Now he was also responsible for the original Penny Parker in Spider-Verse and her robot suit. The design is different though now in the Spider-Verse movie. Yeah. So realizing that there are other like, you know, hashtag mainstream people involved in like comics and in Jared Way, yeah. I am still like trying to wake up. Thank you for saving my ass, you guys. Realizing that they're more like, you know, hashtag mainstream big names that are that comics can be for everyone. It's not necessarily nerdy, although BRZRKR is still quite the male power fantasy.
It is. It's just Keanu shooting people, stabbing people, and then sad Keanuing on a fucking couch on a street bench. I actually really like it. I like that. Keanu. I like that bit. It was very funny.
Yeah. I mean, it might be still the male power fantasy type of comic, but at the very least, it's still. I mean, I can see the point about trying to usher in a new generation of readers that may not feel as at home with like the big two. But at the same time, though, it's still very much like, I mean, superheroes are, I mean, inherently male power fantasy, and BRZRKR's not really like doing anything much different, except it's got like a big name attached to it. A few big names attached to it. You see like who's working on the comic themselves.
Honestly, if they disappoint me with this comic, I would be the saddest person. Because Keanu Reeves is on it, and every time Keanu Reeves is in the movie, there are two things I expect: either goofy fun or intense, high octane action. If this comic book disappoints me, I will be so sad. I will be so sad. I will make a video where I complain about this comic book for the next 6 days.
except you're not going to be able to complain about it until maybe like next year because the graphic novels and stuff. Yeah. Okay, so it would have been more like impactful, in my opinion, if Keanu had released a sort of Bill and Ted level kind of thing.
Yeah.
Hear me out, because that's even more like mass appeal than just power fantasies.
I need to go see the new movie. Damn, you just reminded me.
Yeah. But I will admit, I'll be one of the first to admit, not really a fan of the power fantasy type comic. Actually tempted to see what this is like because of Keanu, and because some of the big names are in it.
Yeah, I think the only reason I haven't bought it is out of just genuine principle. I'm not buying it this way. I'm not buying
buy it through the comic book stars, right?
Yeah, I'm not buying it through Kickstarter. Kickstarter is where I go to give money to like my friends' comics or like stuff I know I will never see in a store. Not this. Like, I can buy it in a store and I can buy all the collectibles on eBay when they lose value. Like I did for Cyberfrog, a comic I don't like and I only bought to make fun of.
You actually gave money to those people?
No, I didn't. I bought it secondhand on eBay. I bought it for like $2. It was so cheap.
It's very interesting. Someone was flogging the Cyberfrog comic. Okay, now people who don't get why I am like, you know, mocking the idea of Cyberfrog. Do you want to explain to them what Cyberfrog's connections are? In brief, because we don't want to alienate our watchers.
Okay, I'm gonna be nice. Cyberfrog is a comic book by the Grand Duke of Comicsgate. God, have I already forgotten his name? I've forgotten his name, haven't I? I'm just gonna write comics.
Yes.
Yeah, Ethan Van Sciver. That's his name. How did I forget that name? Anyway, Ethan's a weird man. He's the Caesar. Thank you, Jay. Ethan's a weird man, and I don't want to say more about him or his weird comic. But Cyberfrog is essentially just like literally about a robot frog kicking ass. The way Ethan thinks. One of the first issues I got had like really bad bleed on it, and it wasn't very good quality comic book. I'm sure that's not particularly his fault. That's just printing errors, but you know, I just want to make.
Oh, the bleed! I said like it just went like. Wait, you mean like the thing ran, or they?
It ran it ran, and I don't know if it's because of the printing specifically or because the person who owned the print didn't keep it well. All I know is when I got it, 2 pages had like ink running into the other one, and I don't know why. Again, I bought this for £2 with shipping of £1. So, you know, I knew I was getting garbage.
Well, considering that, like per issue, it's like what is it? Like quite a few dollars in it.
$25.
For how many pages?
I think it was $25 for like maybe 25, 30 pages. I can't find it.
I think 60 at most. It's not like it's like
it's not a graphic novel. It's a flop. It's like a floppy, but not like a terrible flop.
A terrible floppy, yes, in like thin. Okay.
The original is like 80 pages. I have it somewhere in the flat. It's somewhere. I don't know where it is. Yeah, it's printed as a floppy. Jay knows a lot about it because Jay reads a lot about it. Because Jay kept talking about it in a conversation we were having about something else, I ended up buying one on eBay because I just went, why can I not get it? And I came in a while ago and I've had it somewhere in the house. But much like my copy of Saga, I've lost it somewhere and I don't know where it is.
Wait, so did Jay talk about it in an admiring manner or
no. Jay pissed on it. Jay pissed on it. It's a Battletoads ripoff.
Bless you, Jay. I mean, like I said, like
it is very solid.
It is really interesting to see like some takes on it, and I also kind of feel it's a little bit like, ooh, why use Kickstarter in a way? And it's kind of, I mean, do I feel like it might be taking away from the people who are on Kickstarter already? Potentially, yeah.
I feel like that because I think a lot about the fact that like, okay, so Joe Glass is doing another Kickstarter soon. I don't know when, but I really like Joe's comics. I like generally just the kind of vibe he goes for. It's pleasant for someone like me. I'm not gonna lie to you. If Joe was putting out a Kickstarter right now, bless you, Joe. You're one of my favorite people, but I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna buy the Kickstarter one. Like, if I was a normal person, I'd probably buy the Keanu one, purely because it has Keanu fucking Reeves' name on it. I'm sorry. The man is in Cyberpunk 2077, a game I actually pre-ordered. I've not done that in 10 years. Please forgive me.
I mean, in this day and age, right, when everyone's got like, when everyone's a little bit more prudent, like with their media spending, but they still want to spend on media.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird. Everyone wants to buy the thing that's going to take them the longest amount of time to get through. You know, they want high amounts of value for low cost. And I don't blame them. They're broke. They're broke as fuck. Look outside. Everyone's broke.
Yeah. Bye, Sammy. Thank you for coming along. Yeah. So hard to call, because you can argue that perhaps these people who are going to be giving Keanu Reeves money weren't necessarily going to give these indie creators money anyway because it's trash. Well, I disagree, but yes, I can see the point in that argument, in that like it's not Keanu's like Kickstarter. I call it Keanu's Kickstarter. It's really Boom who like came up with the idea. Yeah. It's not like that Kickstarter not being on there is going to mean like more for the pie for people. Like it's like a theoretical like argument at this point.
Yeah, it's a theoretical argument. I think one of the things is just, for me, it's simple. I think it brings more people to Kickstarter to trust Kickstarter, and I respect that. But do I want it to stay? Do I want this to be a normal thing? No. Do I want Kickstarter to like have a system through which really big projects from companies can be a little bit more streamlined so that they're less likely to take away from smaller projects? Yes. Because Kickstarter can court the relationship of Boom Studios all they want. But let's face it, the only reason why that website even still exists is the hundreds and hundreds of indie creators that use it regularly. Without them, they don't make money. One Boom Studios
without the indie creators like doing it all and all like before this, the big name like Super Boom Studios wouldn't like even take part. Speaking about like misuse of platforms, I gave you notes on like Bella Thorne as an example. It's gonna be a little bit like,
I didn't want to mention Bella Thorne, mostly because like, I don't know, I never feel comfortable talking about her alone.
Okay, we don't have to talk too long about her, but context for people who are unaware. I believe some of us are familiar to a certain extent with this site called OnlyFans.
Yes, the place where we should all take all your OCs to OnlyFans, everyone. Make an OnlyFans for your favorite OC. Trust me, it's worth it.
Okay, so technically, right, OnlyFans is actually meant to be a content subscription service, but it's because it's gotten like a popular reputation with sex workers.
Yeah.
I mean, well, don't get me wrong. There are other people like physical fitness people, there are musicians who are there, and other creators who post regularly online who just want to paywall it.
There's lots of people, and for various reasons that are not at all systemic, but are systemic. Sex workers find it hard to get like, you know, crowdfunding campaigns where they can get paid regularly anywhere else, except for OnlyFans. So it's full of them, and much in the same way that Boom Studios decided to parade their giant wang and walk into Kickstarter, Bella Thorne has done a similar thing where she paraded her giant, just crappy behavior, kind of scammed people, and then left. Don't worry, we're not getting into too many details. But like, it feels a lot like that, where someone comes in, they sit on your platform, and they kind of take a lot of big spenders and important people away from all the smaller, less prominent creators. And unlike Bella Thorne, Boom Studios isn't scamming anyone. Holy crap!
I hope not.
But yeah, they're not. Hopefully, they're not scamming anyone. I hope they don't. If they do, that would be terrifying.
But here's what happened with Bella Thorne, right? So when she joined the platform, she had a record of like, you know, within the first 24 hours, she was earning quite a lot of money.
$1 million.
Yeah, $2 million in less than a week. But there was a huge controversy because she promised nudes, and it was a bait and switch, and it wasn't nudes actually, it was like lingerie photographs, and a bunch of people decided to file chargebacks as it is their right, and as a result, OnlyFans implemented rules about how much can you charge maximum, and how quickly can you get your payouts, and basically added extra red tape because you can't have nice things because someone spoiled it for you. And that wasn't really a problem before this, but a big name celebrity went and went and did this.
It's weird. Luckily, again, unlike Bella Thorne, Boom Studios isn't gonna scam people. Hopefully. But
maybe underpay people, but yeah.
Maybe underpay people, but they're not gonna scam people who paid them money. Hopefully, I'm saying hopefully like this because if they do in a year and we find out Boom Studios went under and the comic is never coming out, I want to be the one who gets to replay this moment and then be like, I told you. Anyway, but hopefully they're not scamming anybody. But it says a lot about the fact that the presence of a big name is can be very, very dangerous to an indie platform, and it can be anything from middling to slightly helpful to substantially damaging if they fuck up. If they really fuck up, they could ruin the all the things that help indie creators right now put out content. Whether it's for sex workers or for comic creators, and that's worrying.
I get the solution, right? Sometimes I just wonder if the solution should have been to just ban her rather than make it harder for everyone else. I get it. You want to prevent this sort of thing from happening. But
my solution is always the same, Kat. It's always the same solution, and it always involves seizing the means of production. That's all the solutions I ever have, and that's where they always end up.
Yeah.
Errors. That feels like a bad omen. Yeah, it's a bad omen. Anyway, you were saying jumping?
Jumping back to this whole Kickstarter thing. I guess I also kind of applaud Boom Studios for considering other ways and means, and it is and I think Kari brought up with me the other night that there was a DC writer who, because DC was pausing production on all the comics during COVID, they went and they had their own indie project that they kickstarted via Indiegogo.
Yeah.
Now, and people started shitting on them why are you, a DC writer, asking for money for this? But okay, I get that. That's erroneous. That's kind of erroneous.
That is not. That is not. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. That's actually quite weird. Why would they do that? He's a writer. He's not he doesn't run DC. He's not Paul Levitz or fucking. I don't actually know any of the other executives at DC anymore. I don't get it. I don't get why people act like that about the fact. Again, indie work doesn't mean that the person is not from a company. It means that the person doesn't have the kind of money a company does.
Or that they're actually doing something that they would do if they weren't limited by the constraints of what a company would have them. Yeah, Keanu Reeves is an actor. He's not a big comic writer, so you could technically say that he is still a beginning creator. At the same time, though, because he's
$250 million. He's not a beginning anything. Keanu Reeves could piss in a river and it could turn to gold.
Oh God. Plus, his prior experience in movies does mean that he's not coming into it totally 100% green, the same way that I didn't go into comics editing totally green because I had some editing experience in a different medium.
Yes. And he's worked in lots of different mediums before. He's worked with video games. He's worked with other things. He's worked with. I don't even think this is the first book involving his face. I think this is the first main one.
Involving his face. Okay, it's not his first written production either. He has written stuff that's been produced. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, for me right now, I'm thinking. This is actually a very important question. I think I say important, a meaningless but relatively important question. So, you are in the writer's room right now, right? You're sitting in your writer's room. and your boss walks in, kicks the door down, and then he throws Keanu on your lap and says, "Make a comic together," and then put it on Kickstarter. Would you do it?
Keanu on my lap? Excuse me, my eyes will be crushed.
But
Also, that guy's far too gentlemanly to just be sitting on laps, unless it was part of the actor's directions.
honestly, he's super nice. But like, they give you Keanu, they put you in a writer's room. But actually, who are the writers on this comic? Let me just check something real quick.
The co-writer on here, I think it's pretty known like co-writer on this. Okay, Matt Kint, I think.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm not even gonna make the obvious comment I was gonna make about that. I don't want to make people mad today. But they hand you the Keanu, they hand you the work, and they tell you to write and put your comic out on Kickstarter and go through Kickstarter. Would you do the Kickstarter thing, like on your own? Like, just tell me how you feel and whether you would make that decision given the situation.
I mean, it is. I mean, you wouldn't pass up the opportunity to do it for sure.
I mean, to work with Keanu, no, I would never pass an opportunity to work with Keanu.
When I say that this is not Keanu's first book, I have to mention that the other books that he wrote were okay. So there was this Ode to Happiness. If you remember, like, he collaborated with Alexandra Grant, who was also seen like as a partner in a non-creative capacity like recently as well. So yes, make of that what you will, but it's not his first like go around like being involved in writing and publishing. Although in comics, comics publishing is a different beast altogether, but yes.
It is. I think it's quite amusing. I get where you're coming from, but in a way, a bunch of creators feel the indie market was in part created by them for them. So opening that platform for people who already broke into comics feels weird. Yeah.
This is where I have to bring up the other what was it? Do you remember the anthology that I sent to you? The guy who wrote like a bunch of things. We're seeing this really weird era in comics where, like one of the best one of the best selling like comics about superheroes is actually technically a manga, and that's Hero Academia.
Yeah.
But there are many people in the Big Two who do not know about it. Like, Big Two doesn't know what's going on in the indie scene. Indie scene likes to like shit on the fact like the Big Two is not welcoming to them.
Yeah.
But
I think
don't wait for permission.
I think there's also a little bit of a discussion to be had here about the fact that I don't even think it's the Big Two, or specifically them. And it's going to be a weird kind of going out of their comment, but like, I think American companies don't know, and I wanted to make that very, very general statement. American companies don't know shit outside of American companies. Like, I found that to be a general rule. Like, even like bless the guys at Macroverse. They're wonderful people. And also just the other people I've seen. I know who work in comics right now. Who came from mainstream industry. They are not aware of a lot of things happening in Eastern markets. So they don't know anything about how Japanese manga works and distributes. They don't know anything about webtoons and stuff. They don't know how the European comic market stays open. And by the way, it stays open by force, with blood.
I want to know more about the European market because graphic novels, okay, not comics, not comic collector issues, graphic novels actually do really well there. Yeah,
because a lot of the most popular ways to put out your book in England specifically. I don't know about all of Europe very well. I need to talk to some people for that. But specifically in England, if you write a book and you want to put it out in a way that people can buy that isn't just a book, like a comic, you end up making graphic novels. So because of that, a lot of young people have been reading graphic novels for a very long time because it's a very good way to access hard-to-read books. Like the one by Ian Colfer, the movie that Disney made recently about the
called Artemis Fowl?
Yeah, Artemis Fowl, yeah. That has a bunch of graphic novels, And for very young people, it can be rather difficult to grasp the concepts. But then there are graphic novels that pull you in. I think Ender's Game has a graphic novel too. I'm not sure, but in England that's kind of a thing. So it's not unusual for older people to end up buying a graphic novel, because it's not strange.
Okay, so I read like the prequel to The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's called The Magician's Nephew. It's also by C.S. Lewis, right?
Yeah.
That was actually illustrated, so that was a graphic novel.
Yeah, like it's much more accessible in the UK to get a graphic novel than to get into comics, mostly because our comic scene was basically founded on plagiarism and bullshit. But it's interesting. I would love to talk about it. My main point was this: the American companies don't know jack shit about what's happening outside of American companies, and it's very, very weird because it explains a lot about how an industry like that stays so tepid. It explains how it stays so tepid after decades and decades, and you haven't figured out that maybe isolating all of your comic books to comic book stores is not the best way to reach more people. Geniuses.
Or like being, or like, I mean, you know, sticking to the same kind of content. I mean, I get it. It's the niche. It's the bread and butter. But
superheroes need to. I'm saying this, Kaz. This is my big prediction for how every comic in America gets better. Every main character dies. Everyone right now, as they are, die, and every character, a whole new set of characters has to be made. That's it. That's how we fix comics.
At the same time, right? You don't go to a Michelin star like fine dining restaurant and demand they serve you like street food. Yeah, well, they can serve you fine dining hamburger, you know, like, you know, deconstructed and in small bite morsels. But at the same time, you don't go to Marvel and DC and expect them to like make comics that cater to you necessarily because because that's what you know for the superheroes. They do, however, some of them do, however, have imprints, and those imprints are more like popular. You know. You get the big name backing, but at the same time, you don't have like the same like superhero power fantasy baggage with it.
That's true. I mean, I did that video on Zuda Comics, and Zuda Comics is an imprint of DC. I'm gonna imprint this video wherever I can for the rest of my life. Zuda Comics is an imprint of DC, and it was where they tried a lot of experimental stuff in the webcomic space, a space that DC at the time wasn't even that interested in, you know. But because they have an imprint and the imprint's free to like take chances, you know. The imprint gets to try new and innovative things, and sometimes gives us some cool stuff. Most of the time, it gives us nothing.
Yeah, I think that's one area that like Japanese comics publishers are more willing to like quote unquote take risks in compared to like the big name like comic companies in the West. Okay, now so I don't know if you look at not the big two, look at Image, look at Boom Studios, look at Dark Horse, right? Yeah. I suppose you could say that the variety is a little bit more like spread out over there, but at the same time it's still in a way insular. Now I believe Image is only interested in creating its own properties.
They are, because I mean, for all the faults of Rob Liefeld, I mean his company is still one of the freest places to be a comic creator in the industry, right? Which I think is hilarious.
But I suppose the one thing that's worth noting about like these companies is, I mean, well, the guy who I sent Nan like the link to for the write up, is saying that it's still being run by people who are making comics 20 to 30 years ago and still want to make the same kind of comics 20 to 30 years ago, which is why you are, even with these like bigger name publishers, Image, Valiant, Dark Horse, you are still getting like Blair kind of comics.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think there was a tweet I saw yesterday, and I'm gonna make this relevant, I promise. The tweet basically went, I feel like I've been sold a lie. Coronavirus was supposed to get rid of all the old people, and it didn't. And now look, I'm not saying that all the old people should go. Lots of people I value are old, like Kaz. I just think that within that meaningless comment, there is a small critique of the fact that a lot of very young people with very different ideas, very new ideas, have to deal with industries that are run consistently by old, decrepit dinosaurs who have refused to change and don't care about what's going on. I think the most potent example of this is not even a comic example. It's Quibi, which do you know what Quibi is? Let's learn about Quibi for 5 minutes. You know Jeffrey Katzenberg of Disney fame? Yeah, he started a streaming service called Quibi. Insert like entertainment into those quick moments where you have to use your phone, but you don't want to like use Twitter. Apparently, so he makes Quibi, this thing that lets you watch 7 to 10 minute clips of movies and TV shows. By the way, this means that an hour-long movie gets cut into 7 to 10 minutes and is only released daily. 10 minutes of a movie daily. You can't watch the whole thing. But yeah, he brings out this awful streaming app now when we're bloated with streaming apps. And he's like, we can't fail. And then he blames coronavirus for his television app not being successful when everyone else is being successful because of coronavirus. And I'm bringing this up because it's an example of a giant dinosaur who refuses to leave the industry and refuses to die, continuing to make the industry tepid and continuing to swing his large bags of money around to take over and control the industry and stop new things from being made. And in comics, when it comes to the big two, that is felt very, very starkly. Like, I don't feel interested in American comics anymore. I don't care about it because whenever I look at it, it's boring, tepid garbage. Except Squirrel Girl, which is where I'm really interested. If somebody can get me an interview with the Squirrel Girl writer and artist, I will pay you money. I love Squirrel Girl, mostly because it's the most different thing I've ever read. It's just weird.
I guess the thing is, right, like, it's a catch-22 where people complain about what the big what the big like comic names are putting out, but at the same time it's kind of lazy of them like to not seek out the others, or they find it really hard to seek out the others, let alone like the good quality kind of stuff. And when you're an indie, it's sometimes quite hard to put out a consistent publishing schedule. Like, I mean, it's hard to get distribution the same way like the big ones do. The internet is, I mean, helps level the playing field a bit, but really sometimes people just want to, but people still expect to like go into a convenience store on the way back from work and like, or like go to a store on the way back from work and like pick something up.
I think at the end of the day, when it comes to those things, I say this: Marvel and DC, with their infinite amounts of money that they were very willing to waste on Diamond Publishing, could have used this coronavirus time to hire a bunch of new creators, and then maybe we could get rid of people like Greg Land. Maybe we could have more interesting comics being made right now. They could use to hire a bunch of indie creators on a webcomic platform, because they own one. They own one, but all it does is publish the stuff that the dinosaurs in their company continue to make. And they could use this time to change up their business strategies and try and get new and more interesting things to be out in the mainstream, to be seen. That way they could, get that audience they've been begging and clamoring for so much, who might not want to keep reading the same crap for 30 years. But they won't. And this is why we should seize the music.
This is why you get characters like Snowflake and Safe Space.
Yeah. Oh my fucking god.
I will never pass up a chance to like shit on Snowflake and Safe Space.
I'm still confused. What was happening there? Why?
Show of hands for those of you who don't know what this issue was with Snowflake and Safe Space.
Snowflake and Safe Space. They got cancelled, by the way.
Really?
Yeah, I think it got cancelled. I'm looking for.
Oh no!
I looked it up just now, and the first one of the things that came up was cancelled. They're part of a group called the New Warriors. They're a new version of the New Warriors.
Nah, the cancelled thing was just some rumor.
Oh, it was a rumor? Oh, that's sad. I'm still want to read it. I want to see Snowflake and Safe Space. Oh, there they are. Oh, there they are. My favorite part of Snowflake and Safe Space is that they're fucking black. I feel so represented in comics right now, guys. I feel so fucking represented. So represented. Comics are a wonderful space, not at all a terrifying hellscape where people with too much money get to make garbage. Fuck.
And meanwhile, the people who truly love the medium have to like slog it out for like low to no pay for a while, and people expect to see these things for free for a bit
Yeah.
before and for the on the off chance, and we do that on the off chance that somebody will like it enough to pay.
I know, it's just, it is depressing. To be fair, Mike Alred, Ecstatics, had a mutant based on Princess Diana and a green blob that talked in his own alien language with a different font. Maybe this new Warriors were destined to be the most incredible comic ever. Oh yeah, Mike Alred's Ecstatics. Jay, please. Oh god, I love Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I just find it amusing that we're in the East, right? Creator own is kind of the default way like to go with your comics. Like in the West, it's almost like it's like they're pulling teeth to try and get that sort of thing.
It is so strange. And this is why we should help Japan take over America. So this is my plan, right? We all just only buy manga for the next 15 years. we
tell it to the pirates.
I know, right? I'm not gonna lie, it's incredibly difficult to get manga in any country that isn't Japan. But I know that then leads to pirating, which then makes it even harder to get comics, and it's a depressing cyclical cycle.
Oh, I'll say, right, okay, now I wish, right, Manga Plus by Shonen Jump, that subscription service where you can access their like all their back catalog for really cheap. I wish it was open to more countries.
Yeah, honestly.
I can't get it. You can, I think.
I can, but like I've mostly been reading the one that somebody suggested to me the other day about a guy whose microwave gave him issues of Shonen Jump from the future. And then he starts plagiarizing the future so he can be successful in the past.
Oh gosh!
I forgot what it's called. It's hilarious. It's like really sad Bakuman. Oh my god!
I have questions.
Oh my god. Oh god. Britain has been really good. I'm kind of I don't if anyone's got any questions, now's a great time to ask them, because now's a great time, or any points to make that I didn't think about or we missed or whatever, because now's a great time to bring it up. I read that manga. It's very funny to me. Also,
you're gonna have to send me the name for it.
Yeah. Also, Webcomics Hub merch came. My Webcomics Hub merch finally came in. It took 2.5 months for me to get my own merch. Why?
That sucks.
What is? Okay. Hey Kaz, I want to ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
When will you and Keanu finally put out a webcomic together?
Well, I don't know. Like, when are you guys going to like make it happen?
When am I gonna make it happen? So you want me to contact Keanu?
Why not?
Send him an email. I'll send him an email and see if he goes, hey, how about you give me $15 million for my face, and then we can talk about making a webcomic. Oh my god. All right.
I guess we I don't know. Are we pretty much done for this show?
I think we got everything. Anything you want to talk about before we go?
No, actually, I think I'm fine.
All right, cool. All right. Thanks a lot for showing up, guys. I can't speak English today.
Wow, so it's really funny because I came in like about half an hour-ish late, and then we proceeded to stretch out a couple of topics for like an extra hour. I guess this is why you need me around, right?
I require you, not just for stretching, mostly because you have a lot of good insight. I like it. Thanks a lot for showing up, guys. Appreciate it. Kaz is always awesome, and I'm so glad you showed up without me losing my actual mind, because I couldn't do it without you. Thanks for showing up to the stream. I had a lot of fun talking to you guys. Usual place, usual time in 2 weeks. Hopefully we can get something done. I got a bunch of interviews to do for the next week. Hope to see you guys across. Thank you for showing up, Lily. Thank you for Lizzie. I don't know I called you Lily. I'm sorry, Lizzie. Thank you for showing up, Error, and Jay, and Geek Boy, and Carrie, and everyone else. It's so wonderful to see you. I've been Nen.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I've been Kaz.
She's always been.
And I've been very sleepy too.
You're doing great, bud. You're doing great. And I'll see you guys next 2 weeks. Bye-bye.